The galaxy had long dismissed humanity as insignificant, a young species clinging to a backwater system that no one considered strategically important. And for decades, every alien civilization from the gleaming halls of the Dravic Syndicate to the calculated councils of the Zalari Dominion had spoken of humans with condescension, noting their slow technological progress compared to the ancient empires that spanned star systems. But no one had ever imagined that beneath humanity's modest exterior lay a species capable of ingenuity and tenacity that could outmatch entire fleets and unravel carefully laid plans with methods that no alien mind had anticipated. The story began in the Sol system, where the United Earth Command had grown quietly, expanding colonies in the asteroid belts, terraforming planets, and constructing orbital defense platforms while simultaneously sending ambassadors to galactic councils, often facing derision from species that considered themselves eternal, masters of interstellar diplomacy and warfare. And it was during one such council meeting on the neutral station of Valterra that the human ambassador, Jonathan Price, had first sensed the underestimation that would fuel humanity's rise. For the Zalari delegates had laughed openly at his proposals for collaborative security initiatives. The Syndicate representatives had smirked at the Earth fleet's modest size, and even the Morin, whose telepathic capabilities were feared across sectors, dismissed human strategy as simplistic. Yet Price had left the council chambers not with anger, but with a calculated patience, knowing that the human's true strength was never meant to be displayed in polite conversation, but in the crucible of action. And back on Earth, scientists and engineers worked relentlessly on projects that would one day alter the balance of power, their labs humming with the quiet energy of anticipation as they refined propulsion systems that could evade the most, advanced detection grids, weapons that utilized quantum destabilization in ways the galaxy had not seen, and artificial intelligence networks that coordinated in ways that mimicked instinct rather than mere programming. And while alien spies reported back only fragments of Earth's activity, each report seemed to confirm their prejudice, leading them to believe humans were still centuries behind. But humanity had learned that deception, patience, and preparation were as critical as firepower. And as fleets were dispatched across contested systems to enforce trade embargoes and intimidate colonies, humans observed, adapted, and calculated responses that appeared reactive, but were in truth the meticulous unfolding of strategies decades in the making. And it was Lieutenant Commander Elena Harper, stationed aboard the USS Valor, who first realized the potential of a combined system called the Harmonic Array, a network of satellites and energy conduits capable of channeling both defensive and offensive energy in ways that could cripple alien fleets without warning. Harper presented the data to Fleet Admiral Marcus Lowell, who immediately grasped the implications, knowing that the array could serve as humanity's secret weapon, a tool that would allow the relatively small Earth fleet to punch far above its weight and achieve results that even the largest alien armadas could not predict. And as the first test simulations ran, it became apparent that the Harmonic Array would not merely be a deterrent, but a force multiplier capable of exploiting every miscalculation, every assumption the galaxy had made about human supposed weakness. And over the following months, the array was perfected in secret, with human engineers coordinating operations from orbiting stations, underground facilities, and even disguised freighters, creating a distributed system that was as elusive as it was powerful. While back in the galaxy at large, tensions escalated, driven by a combination of human diplomacy that appeared timid, intelligence leaks that hinted at potential technological breakthroughs, and deliberate provocations designed to gauge alien reactions. And when the Zalari attacked a minor human colony on Epsilon Eridani, believing the humans would respond with a small retaliatory strike, they instead encountered a perfectly timed ambush where drones and automated systems deployed from the Harmonic Array disabled their communications, targeted critical engine systems, and left their capital ship stranded in orbit, forcing an immediate surrender in the most humiliating defeat the Zalari had experienced in centuries. The news reverberated across the galaxy, first as disbelief, then as rising panic, and the Morin, observing from their telepathic outposts, struggled to comprehend how a species they considered primitive could orchestrate such precision, while humans, fully aware of perception gap, continued their slow, deliberate expansion. Each victory planned to maximize both military and psychological impact, demonstrating a level of strategic foresight and adaptability that the galaxy had not anticipated. And as Admiral Lowell addressed his officers, He emphasized that the true purpose of the secret weapon was never to incite fear for its own sake, but to awaken the galaxy to the reality that humanity could not be dismissed. And in council chambers, war rooms, and command centers across alien civilizations, debates raged about whether the human sudden display of capability was an aberration or the start of a systematic rise that could eventually threaten the established order, while on Earth, scientists, engineers, and military strategists celebrated quietly, fully aware that the harmonic array was only the beginning, that humanity's real advantage lay not in one weapon, but in the combination of innovation, perseverance, and unpredictability. And as fleets continued to maneuver, reconnaissance revealed alien attempts to counter the array with complex maneuvers, experimental weapons, and espionage. Yet in every case, human adaptability outpaced the enemy, turning their efforts into further proof of human ingenuity. And the galaxy watched in growing horror as the once dismissed species demonstrated the terrifying effectiveness of planning, coordination, and technological integration that rivaled the oldest civilizations. And as the first full-scale battle unfolded near the edge of the Sirius sector, the humans revealed additional systems of the array that could manipulate energy flow to create temporary gravitational anomalies, disrupt alien targeting systems, and provide near-impenetrable shields for their vessels, forcing alien commanders to question every assumption they had held about warfare for millennia. And with each engagement, humanity refined its methods, learning from every encounter, absorbing every mistake, and converting them into tactical advantages that reinforced their reputation as a force that could not be ignored. And in quiet discussions, Admiral Lowell reminded his captains that patience, discipline, and secrecy were the most potent tools they had, for the galaxy might yet underestimate them again, and humanity would strike decisively when the time was right, with every victory building toward a crescendo that would ultimately shatter alien dominance, forever altering the balance of power and establishing Earth as a central player in the galactic theater, respected, feared, and unquestionably superior. And while the aliens scrambled to understand the humans' rapid ascent, the humans continued to innovate, pushing the boundaries of propulsion, energy manipulation, and battlefield strategy, all while maintaining the facade of a young, unassuming species, biding their time until the harmonic array and accompanying tactics could be deployed in concert to achieve maximum impact, ensuring that when the full revelation came, it would not merely be a defeat for the aliens, but a catastrophic awakening to reality that humanity had been underestimated at its peril. And as the first stage of the campaign drew to a close, Earth celebrated quietly, recognizing that the true power of the secret weapon was not just in its destructive capability, but in its capacity to demonstrate that humans were a species that adapted, endured, and ultimately triumphed through ingenuity, courage, and unwavering determination, setting the stage for the next phase of humanity's rise, where the galaxy would finally understand that the secret weapon was not just a technological marvel, but a reflection of the very essence of human potential, the culmination of centuries of learning, survival, and ingenuity that no alien power could hope to fully anticipate, counter, or ultimately overcome. As the galaxy reeled from the first demonstrations of the harmonic array, humanity quietly expanded its influence into neighboring systems, sending exploratory fleets under the guise of scientific missions, while simultaneously establishing fortified way stations that could serve as both supply hubs and forward defense points. Each decision carefully calculated by Admiral Lowell and his council of military strategists, who coordinated with scientists like Dr. Aidan Cross and engineer Kara Mitchell to integrate newly developed technologies into operational protocols, while alien intelligence networks struggled to make sense of human movements, often reporting contradictory findings that led galactic powers to misallocate resources, a mistake humanity had anticipated and used to their advantage. And as reconnaissance probes returned data on alien fleet compositions, weapon ranges, and tactical tendencies, the humans constructed simulations to test every possible response, ensuring that when engagement became unavoidable, every ship, weapon, and maneuver would function with near-perfect efficiency. And it was in the Betelgeuse sector that the first real test of combined systems and fleet coordination took place, as a coalition of Zalari, Morin, and Dravik vessels attempted to blockade a newly colonized human world, believing that sheer numbers could overwhelm the humans. But the moment the alien armada entered range of the harmonic array, the system activated in layers, first scrambling communications across the fleet, then inducing energy fluctuations that disabled shields in sequence, causing cascading failures as alien ships collided and fired upon each other in confusion, while human vessels, guided by advanced AI coordination, move with precise timing to exploit weaknesses and isolate key vessels, and in the chaos, human boarding parties captured critical alien technology, further accelerating development of countermeasures, while on Earth, Admiral Lowell monitored the battle with calculated patience, knowing that the psychological impact of demonstrating mastery over such a formidable force would ripple across every council and war room in the galaxy. And as reports of the debacle reached alien leaders, panic and disbelief replaced arrogance and contempt. The first whispers of fear spreading among species that had long regarded humanity as insignificant. Yet on the ground, human scientists and engineers already anticipated the need for further enhancements, developing adaptive targeting systems capable of learning enemy behavior mid-battle, and deploying stealth platforms that could operate undetected within contested space, all synchronized through quantum communication arrays that render traditional detection methods obsolete, while military academies trained officers to think in patterns that combine conventional strategy with improvisational problem-solving, ensuring that humans could respond to unexpected situations with agility no alien commander could match. And in the political sphere, Ambassador Price leveraged victories and intelligence to negotiate from a position of unprecedented strength, subtly undermining galactic alliances that had underestimated humanity, while securing recognition for Earth's sovereignty over key systems, actions that would ensure that when humanity fully revealed its capabilities, the galaxy would have no choice but to acknowledge their ascension. And as the months passed, each engagement, whether skirmish, raid, or large-scale battle, reinforced the pattern. Humans struck with precision, adapted faster than any opponent, and exploited weaknesses that aliens had believed invisible, creating a psychological edge as terrifying as a physical one. And as fleets returned from successful missions, crews shared stories of alien disbelief, mechanical failures, and the unparalleled coordination of human forces, all of which became legendary among officers and soldiers, reinforcing morale while deepening the reputation of the human fleet as an unstoppable entity. And yet the humans were careful not to overextend, knowing that measured progress, combined with the secrecy of their ongoing technological projects, would maintain the element of surprise. And when scouts detected a massive Zalari fleet gathering in the Outer Rim, the humans did not panic, but instead initiated the next stage of strategy, a coordinated feint, deploying decoy convoys, simulated signals, and false data that led the Zalari to misposition their forces, creating opportunities that the humans could exploit. And when the decisive engagement came, it was not merely brute force that won the day, but the integration of all aspects of human capability, intelligence, engineering, tactics, and the unpredictable creativity that aliens could neither anticipate nor counter. And as the dust settled, entire fleets of Zalari lay crippled, communications severed, morale shattered, and leadership humiliated, while humanity secured key strategic points without losing. A single major installation demonstrating that the secret weapon was not just a harmonic array itself, but the combination of discipline, foresight, adaptability, and the inherent unpredictability of human decision-making, a pattern that repeated across sectors as news of each human victory spread, forcing alien civilizations to reconsider every assumption they had held about warfare, technology, and the underestimated species that had been quietly mastering the art of interstellar dominance. And as scientists analyzed captured technology, engineers improved propulsion and energy manipulation, officers refined command protocols, and strategists planned the next moves in what had become a galaxy-wide campaign designed to reshape the balance of power, all while maintaining the human approach of deliberate patience, coordinated surprise, and continuous adaptation, ensuring that by the time the aliens fully understood the threat they faced, humanity would have already secured the decisive positions, captured critical systems, and demonstrated that the secret weapon was a manifestation of human ingenuity and resilience that no opponent could ever fully contain, predict, or defeat. And as the fleets regrouped, the councils debated long into cycles, each species realizing that underestimating humans had been the gravest mistake in galactic history, and that every miscalculation had been anticipated and turned to human advantage, leaving humanity not only victorious in immediate engagements, but poised to reshape the galaxy according to a strategic vision honed over decades of careful preparation, the culmination of which would eventually reveal the full scope of the harmonic array and accompanying systems in a manner so overwhelming that no alien species would ever again treat humanity as a subordinate or inconsequential power. And as the story of human resilience and calculated supremacy spread from one star system to the next, it became clear that the secret weapon was more than technology, more than strategy. It was the embodiment of a species that refused to be underestimated, a species that had transformed every doubt, every insult, and every expectation into the foundation of their rise, ensuring that when a galaxy fully comprehended the breadth of human capability, it would understand that no civilization, however ancient or advanced, could stand unchallenged against the calculated might and ingenuity of Earth's finest. Following the decisive engagements in the Betelgeuse sector, humanity continued to expand its operational reach into contested systems, quietly establishing hidden bases and forward observation posts, while simultaneously deploying long-range reconnaissance drones designed to gather intelligence on alien fleet movements, technological advancements, and strategic planning, all without revealing the full scope of human capability. It was Captain Lucas Everett who first proposed the concept of dynamic command networks, linking ships, ground facilities, and satellites through adaptive AI that could process incoming data in real time, predict enemy maneuvers, and issue coordinated orders faster than any alien fleet could react, an idea immediately embraced by Admiral Lowell, who recognized that this network could serve as both a command advantage and a psychological weapon by making human forces appear omnipresent and omniscient, while alien civilizations scrambled to counter what they still perceived as rudimentary human coordination, often misinterpreting their success as luck rather than precision planning, and as humans integrated new energy-based weapons capable of destabilizing enemy shields and disrupting propulsion systems, they simultaneously enhanced defensive measures, ensuring that even in the face of overwhelming numbers, human vessels could absorb attacks, adapt, and exploit openings with surgical efficiency, and it was during a campaign near the Andromeda frontier that Lieutenant Harper, now overseeing field deployment of the harmonic array, discovered a method to synchronize multiple arrays across light years, creating a network capable of simultaneously crippling enemy fleets in several sectors, a revelation that transformed human strategic options from local defense to galaxy-wide offensive potential. While back on Earth, the military-industrial complex worked around the clock to produce vessels, weapons, and AI systems that could scale with these new tactics, training thousands of officers in simulations that replicated every conceivable scenario, and in alien command centers, panic grew as reports of human victories spread, showing not only technological superiority but also unmatched adaptability, as humans would respond to unexpected conditions, modify tactics mid-battle, and exploit every flaw in alien strategy, a combination that left even veteran commanders scrambling for answers. And as humans encountered more advanced alien species, they applied these principles consistently, using deception feints and controlled retreats to lure opponents into traps where the harmonic array and associated systems could neutralize entire battalions, demonstrating that human strength lay not merely in firepower, but in the orchestration of combined arms, strategy, and ingenuity, while alien analysts continue to underestimate humans, often believing they could predict human responses using conventional logic, only to be confounded by innovations such as stealth carriers that emitted false signals, drones capable of mimicking entire fleets, and energy manipulations that render conventional sensors useless. And as the humans pushed into previously uncontested systems, they discovered relic technologies abandoned by older civilizations, which they integrated into their fleet design, improving propulsion, shielding, and weapons beyond the limits any single alien species had achieved, while political maneuvering ensured that diplomatic isolation was avoided, with ambassadors like Jonathan Price negotiating alliances, trade agreements, and observational truces that gave humans both strategic intelligence and time to consolidate gains, and the cumulative effect was staggering, as entire sectors once dominated by the Dravik and Zalari now contained human outposts, fortified positions, and rapidly deployable fleets that projected power far beyond the size of the human navy, forcing alien species to acknowledge that the humans' rise was not an anomaly but a carefully orchestrated campaign, blending technological mastery, strategic innovation, and psychological warfare. And as the harmonic array reached full operational capacity, Humans demonstrated the ability to disable alien fleets without firing a single shot, neutralizing weapon systems, communications, and propulsion through precise energy modulation, leaving adversaries helpless against what seemed an invisible hand guiding human forces with terrifying precision. As the galaxy took notice, fear replaced contempt in every council chamber, as alien leaders realized that humanity was not simply another species to negotiate or conquer, but a force that could dictate the terms of engagement across multiple sectors simultaneously, a force that had leveraged decades of preparation, scientific innovation, and adaptive strategy to convert every expectation of human inferiority into a crushing advantage, while on Earth, scientists celebrated breakthroughs that enhanced energy transfer efficiency, AI decision-making, and predictive modeling, ensuring that each engagement was faster, more effective, and increasingly decisive. And as new generations of officers trained under these principles, they absorbed lessons not only of tactics, but of resilience, adaptability, and the understanding that every weakness in an opponent could be anticipated, studied, and turned into opportunity, creating a cycle of improvement that no alien species could hope to match. And as fleets returned from successful campaigns, they brought with them captured technology, detailed analyses, and first-hand reports of alien surprise, all feeding back into human innovation pipeline, which rapidly converted insights into operational advantages. And as Admiral Lowell oversaw these developments, he emphasized a philosophy that had guided humanity from the start: patience, preparation, adaptability, and unity, and that by maintaining secrecy, strategic surprise, and a relentless pace of improvement, humanity could continue to dominate without ever overextending, proving repeatedly that the secret weapon was more than just a harmonic array. It was a collective ingenuity, persistence, and resolve of a species that refused to be underestimated, ensuring that by the time the aliens fully grasped the scope of human capability, the die would already have been cast, with humanity firmly in control of the narrative, the battlefield, and ultimately, the future of galactic power. As humanity's influence spread deeper into contested space, the next phase of strategy involved integrating intelligence, diplomacy, and military might in ways that alien civilizations could neither anticipate nor counter, with Captain Elena Harper coordinating the deployment of the harmonic array alongside fleets that included stealth frigates, rapid response carriers, and AI-guided drones. Each unit operating as part of a larger network capable of instantaneous adaptation to battlefield conditions, while scientists such as Dr. Aidan Cross developed adaptive energy weapons capable of targeting vulnerabilities in alien shielding and propulsion systems with surgical precision. And as reconnaissance revealed a coalition forming among the Dravik, Zalari, and more to halt human expansion, Admiral Lowell orchestrated a series of feints and diversions, sending decoy fleets to unimportant sectors while concentrating real power in hidden corridors and jump points. And when the alien coalition attempted to strike, they encountered ambushes that exploited every weakness they believed impervious, with energy fluctuations in the array causing cascading failures in their fleets, communications scrambling, shields collapsing, and engines shutting down unpredictably, while human vessels moved like coordinated phantoms, striking isolated targets, capturing command ships, and seizing critical technology with efficiency that seemed impossible to alien observers and in council chambers across the galaxy. Debates raged about how a species previously considered primitive could display such strategic brilliance, technological mastery, and operational cohesion, while humans, fully aware of the psychological dimension, ensured that every victory was calculated to amplify fear, forcing opponents to waste resources on defensive measures rather than counterattacks. And as the campaign expanded, humanity revealed additional capabilities: energy redirection systems that could channel enemy attacks back on their origin, autonomous repair drones that maintain fleet integrity during prolonged battles, and predictive AI capable of simulating enemy tactics several steps in advance, all integrated seamlessly into human command network. While alien analysts scrambled to comprehend what they could not predict, each miscalculation compounded by the humans' relentless innovation. And in one particularly decisive encounter near the Lyra system, a coalition fleet attempted to intercept a human convoy carrying essential supplies, only to find themselves trapped within overlapping fields of the harmonic array and manipulated energy corridors, resulting in total immobilization of key vessels, systematic neutralization of weapons, and the capture of several high-ranking officers who could later testify to humanity's precision, adaptability, and unanticipated ingenuity. And as these victories accumulated, Admiral Lowell emphasized that the goal was not destruction for its own sake, but to demonstrate the inevitability of human dominance if underestimated, to force the galaxy to recognize that humans were not merely survivors, but masters of strategic thinking, technology integration, and battlefield innovation. And while alien species debated countermeasures, humans quietly consolidated control over critical systems, fortifying planets, establishing autonomous bases, and deploying hidden arrays that could project influence across vast distances without detection, ensuring that any future attempt at resistance would encounter overwhelming preparation, coordination, and tactical foresight. And as new officers trained under the doctrine of integrated strategy, they absorbed not only military skill, but the mindset that had enabled humanity to achieve so much with comparatively modest resources, adaptability, foresight, and the understanding that preparation and intelligence could turn every enemy assumption into opportunity. And as Admiral Lowell reviewed simulations of potential conflicts across multiple sectors, he understood that the true power of the secret weapon was not the harmonic array alone, but the cumulative effect of human ingenuity, strategic patience, technological integration, and the psychological advantage gained by proving that no alien species could fully anticipate human responses. And as fleets moved into the Outer Rim to secure unclaimed systems, humans continued to exploit the alien coalitions. Internal mistrust, using captured communications and misinformation campaigns to sow confusion, overconfidence, and internal strife, while simultaneously refining their own tactics, ensuring that every engagement reinforced a narrative of human supremacy. And as scientists pushed the boundaries of energy manipulation, faster-than-light coordination, and AI-driven strategy, the galaxy slowly came to realize that the secret weapon was a living embodiment of human potential, a combination of discipline, innovation, adaptability, and unyielding resolve. And while alien commanders attempted to respond, they found themselves consistently outmaneuvered, outthought, and overwhelmed. And as humans celebrated each victory quietly on Earth, Admiral Lowell reminded his officers that patience and restraint were as critical as technological superiority. For the ultimate triumph would come not merely from battlefield success, but from the methodical, unstoppable demonstration that humanity had transformed every perceived weakness into the foundation of dominance, ensuring that when the galaxy fully comprehended the depth of human capability, it would acknowledge that the secret weapon was not a single system, but the embodiment of a species that refused to be underestimated, and that mastery, foresight, and unity could overcome every challenge, defeat every expectation, and establish Earth as the undisputed center of strategic power in the galaxy, feared, respected, and admired in equal measure. As humanity pressed further into the uncharted sectors, their campaigns became a study in strategic precision and psychological dominance, with Admiral Marcus Lowell coordinating a network of fleets, intelligence units, and scientists who worked in unison to maintain constant pressure on alien civilizations, while revealing only fractions of humanity's full capabilities. And it was Captain Lucas Everett who proposed the integration of adaptive cloaking systems with the harmonic array, allowing entire squadrons to appear and disappear across contested space, creating illusions of massive forces where only a few ships were present, while simultaneously transmitting falsified signals to mislead enemy sensors and command systems, an approach that confounded every alien fleet that attempted to intercept or engage human forces. And as alien strategists attempted to predict human actions, they found themselves repeatedly outmaneuvered, unable to account for the combination of technological mastery, rapid adaptability, and unconventional thinking that characterized humanity. And while fleets engaged in skirmishes, humans captured critical technology from defeated ships, analyzed alien AI, and reverse-engineered energy systems, integrating these into both offensive and defensive networks, further increasing the disparity between human and alien capabilities. And in the Proxima sector, Lieutenant Elena Harper led an operation in which a coalition fleet of Zalari and Dravik vessels was lured into a narrow corridor where a harmonic array manipulated gravitational fields and energy flows to disable engines, disrupt weapons, and induce catastrophic chain reactions among alien ships, while humans, operating from multiple vectors, isolated command vessels, seized communications, and neutralized orbital defenses without a single human ship being critically damaged. And as reports of the battle spread across the galaxy, councils debated how a species so recently considered primitive could demonstrate such mastery, while humans quietly analyzed captured warships and data to refine predictive AI, improve energy transfer efficiency, and expand the harmonic array's reach to encompass additional sectors. And as human colonists established fortified stations on newly secured worlds, they developed logistical networks that allowed rapid reinforcement, resupply, and expansion, ensuring that any alien attempt to retake territory would encounter overwhelming preparedness. And while scientists perfected autonomous repair drones and adaptive energy weapons, military academies trained new generations of officers to think not in conventional linear strategies, but in patterns that integrated deception, adaptability, and multi-layer contingency planning, creating a culture in which every engagement reinforced the understanding that humans could exploit every weakness in both technology and psychology. And in the Theta Sector, the harmonic array was used to manipulate energy flows to redirect enemy attacks back onto their origin points, effectively turning the alien fleet's own firepower against them, resulting in widespread confusion, surrender of key vessels, and the capture of senior officers who provided intelligence that accelerated further technological advances. And as humans continued to expand their influence, they employed feints, misinformation campaigns, and simulated fleets to stretch alien resources thin, forcing adversaries into constant reactive postures while humans refined offensive tactics, defensive measures, and interfleet coordination. And across the galaxy, the psychological impact of these victories became apparent as alien civilizations began to doubt their ability to outthink, outmaneuver, or outfight humanity. And while Admiral Lowe maintained strict operational discipline, he also encouraged creativity, innovation, and initiative among captains and commanders, understanding that the unpredictability of human decision-making was as powerful a weapon as the harmonic array itself. And as humanity integrated captured alien technology, improved energy weapons, and expanded AI coordination, fleets became capable of simultaneous multi-sector operations, enabling humans to strike decisively in one system while feigning presence in another, overwhelming even the most experienced alien tacticians. And as the years of the campaign unfolded, each battle, capture, and successful maneuver reinforced a narrative of human supremacy, demonstrating that what the galaxy had assumed to be primitive, reactive, or slow-witted was in fact a species of unparalleled ingenuity, patience, and strategic depth. As officers shared stories of battles in which small human forces incapacitated entire fleets, and scientists celebrated innovations that pushed the boundaries of physics and coordination, the galaxy slowly came to understand that the secret weapon was not merely a single system or technology, but the embodiment of humanity's core strengths: adaptability, creativity, unity, and relentless determination. And while alien leaders scrambled to devise countermeasures, they consistently fell short, unable to predict human responses, anticipate innovations, or match the seamless integration of strategy, technology, and psychological manipulation that defined every engagement. And in quiet moments aboard command ships, Lowell reminded his officers that the true advantage of humanity was patience, foresight, and the relentless conversion of expectation into opportunity, ensuring that every alien misjudgment was exploited, every weakness amplified, and every engagement brought the galaxy closer to acknowledging that the secret weapon was not just a harmonic array, but a collective genius, resilience, and indomitable spirit of a species that refused to be underestimated and would not be denied its rightful place among the stars. By the time the galaxy began to grasp the scale of humanity's ascent, it was already too late to contain it. As human fleets operated across multiple sectors with a level of coordination and foresight that alien civilizations had never encountered, and Admiral Marcus Lowell, now overseeing a theater that spanned dozens of systems, understood that the next phase required not only continued military success, but the deliberate collapse of alien confidence, forcing opponents to doubt every decision before it was made. And to achieve this, humanity expanded the harmonic array into a fully autonomous lattice capable of independent action, allowing localized segments to adapt, learn, and respond without centralized command, a development that transformed human warfare from coordinated effort into something resembling a living system, reactive, predictive, and terrifyingly efficient. And it was Dr. Aidan Cross who demonstrated that the array could subtly alter energy signatures across entire regions, creating phantom fleets, false jump points, and misleading sensor echoes that caused alien commanders to misjudge distances, fleet strength, and even the location of their own vessels, while human ships navigated these distortions effortlessly, guided by AI systems trained to interpret the manipulated space-time environment. And as the Dravik attempted a massive counteroffensive in the Vega Corridor, deploying one of the largest armadas in their history, they encountered a battlefield that defied all conventional logic, with human forces appearing simultaneously on multiple fronts, striking supply lines, disabling command ships, and vanishing before retaliatory fire could be coordinated. And within hours, the Dravik formation collapsed into disarray, ships colliding, firing blindly, or retreating into engineered energy traps that immobilize them without visible cause, while human boarding teams move with methodical precision, capturing vessels and extracting intelligence that further accelerated human innovation. And across the galaxy, alien councils convened emergency sessions as reports confirmed what many had feared. Humanity was no longer reacting to alien aggression, but shaping the entire strategic environment, dictating where, when, and how battles occurred. And as panic spread, some civilizations attempted diplomatic overtures, while others doubled down on militarization, both responses anticipated by human planners who had already modeled such reactions years in advance. And Ambassador Jonathan Pryce leveraged these overtures to fracture long-standing alien alliances, offering limited trade access, non-aggression pacts, and controlled technology sharing that created divisions among former adversaries, weakening their ability to coordinate any meaningful resistance, while military forces quietly secured strategic systems that ensured permanent human presence across critical corridors, and as younger officers like Commander Rachel Morgan emerged as leaders within the fleet, they embodied the doctrine that had defined humanity's rise: adaptability, initiative, and the willingness to exploit unconventional solutions, often combining scientific insight with battlefield intuition to resolve engagements before they escalated. And in one notable incident near the Orion Fringe, a human task force neutralized an incoming coalition fleet without direct engagement by triggering synchronized array pulses that disabled navigation systems, leaving alien ships drifting helplessly while human forces secured objectives unopposed, a demonstration that spread fear faster than any battle. And as the galaxy watched, humanity continued to refine its methods, developing energy absorption systems that turned incoming fire into usable power, propulsion enhancements that allowed ships to maneuver unpredictably, and AI networks capable of rewriting tactical priorities mid-engagement based on evolving conditions, all while maintaining the appearance of restraint, choosing when to escalate and when to withdraw to maximize psychological impact. And within human command circles, it was widely understood that the greatest danger lay not in alien retaliation, but in complacency, a lesson Admiral Lowe reinforced relentlessly, insisting that every victory be analyzed, every assumption questioned, and every system improved, ensuring that humanity never stagnated as so many older civilizations had. And as the campaign progressed, alien morale eroded steadily, with reports of defections, surrender without engagement, and entire systems capitulating rather than face human fleets. And while humanity accepted these outcomes pragmatically, securing territory and resources without unnecessary destruction, they also ensured that every concession reinforced a narrative of inevitability, that resistance was futile not because of brute force alone, but because humanity had mastered the art of preparation, coordination, and adaptation. And as the harmonic array evolved into a self-sustaining network that could operate indefinitely, integrating captured alien technologies and continuously refining its own algorithms, the realization dawned across the galaxy that the secret weapon was no longer hidden, yet it remained impossible to counter, because it was not a static system that could be destroyed or copied, but a dynamic manifestation of human ingenuity and resilience. And as Admiral Lowe looked across the strategic map, he knew that the final stages were approaching, not defined by a single climactic battle, but by the quiet, irreversible shift of power that left humanity in control of the galaxy's most vital systems, its trade routes, and its strategic choke points, ensuring that alien dominance had not been shattered by a single blow, but dismantled piece by a species that had turned underestimation into its greatest advantage. And as the galaxy struggled to adapt to this new reality, humanity moved forward with calm confidence, fully aware that their true strength lay not in any one weapon or fleet, but in the relentless drive to learn, adapt, and prevail against any challenge, no matter how vast, ancient, or seemingly insurmountable. As the final phase of humanity's campaign began to unfold, the galaxy entered a state of uneasy calm punctuated by sudden, decisive shifts of power, as systems long considered secure fell under human influence without the need for open warfare, and Admiral Marcus Lowell understood that this stage was about permanence rather than conquest, about ensuring that alien civilizations could never again unite against humanity with the expectation of victory. And to accomplish this, human strategists activated the deepest layers of the harmonic array, revealing capabilities that had been theorized but never demonstrated, including the ability to regulate energy flows across entire star systems, subtly controlling jump stability, power distribution, and sense of fidelity in ways that rendered human-controlled regions fundamentally inhospitable to hostile fleets, while remaining perfectly navigable for allied or neutral vessels. And as these effects propagated, alien commanders found their ships unable to maneuver effectively, their sensors unreliable, and their supply lines disrupted, not through overt attack, but through environmental manipulation that forced retreat or surrender without a single shot fired. And across former alien strongholds, panic gave way to resignation as councils realized that resistance no longer carried even symbolic value, while humanity consolidated control over trade corridors, resource-rich systems, and strategic choke points that formed the backbone of galactic infrastructure. And Ambassador Jonathan Pryce capitalized on this moment by formalizing new interstellar frameworks that recognized Earth as a guarantor of stability, offering protection, regulated access, and arbitration in exchange for recognition of human authority, a proposal that many species accepted not out of fear alone, but out of pragmatic understanding that humanity's rule brought predictability, where chaos once reigned. And within the fleet, officers like Captain Lucas, Everett, and Elena Harper oversaw the transition from wartime operations to strategic enforcement, deploying patrols, monitoring array activity, and ensuring that any emerging threat was identified and neutralized before it coalesced, while scientists refined long-term sustainability systems that allowed human installations to operate indefinitely without resupply, integrating alien technologies into a unified framework that further widened the gap between human capability and that of any potential challenger. And as isolated attempts at rebellion emerged from remnants of old empires, they were resolved swiftly and efficiently, with localized array adjustments disabling ships, freezing infrastructure, and isolating leadership until compliance was restored, a process so precise and restrained that it reinforced humanity's reputation as an authority grounded in control rather than destruction. And throughout these developments, Admiral Lowell emphasized the importance of memory, instructing commanders to document every engagement, every error, and every innovation, ensuring that humanity's rise would not be mythologized into complacency, but preserved as a living doctrine of adaptation and vigilance. And as generations of human officers trained under this philosophy, they internalized a lesson that dominance was not a static achievement, but a continuous process of learning, refinement, and anticipation. And across the galaxy, alien species adjusted to the new reality, restructuring governments, doctrines, and economies around the understanding that humanity was now the central stabilizing force, a species that had not conquered through annihilation, but through mastery of systems, strategy, and psychology, and as a harmonic array operated quietly in the background, regulating the flow of power across the stars. It became clear that the true finality of alien dominance had not come in a single climactic battle, but in the gradual realization that every path to resistance had already been mapped, anticipated, and rendered futile. And as humanity stood at the center of this transformed galaxy, there was no celebration of victory, only the steady continuation of purpose. As fleets patrolled, scientists innovated, diplomats negotiated, and commanders planned for contingencies yet unseen, fully aware that the secret weapon had achieved its ultimate function not by destroying the old order in fire, but by replacing it with new one built on human ingenuity, restraint, and unyielding resolve, ensuring that the galaxy would never again mistake humanity for a minor power, and that every civilization, ancient or young, would remember the lesson written across the stars that underestimation was the first and final mistake when dealing with humans. In the years that followed the quiet collapse of alien resistance, the galaxy settled into a new equilibrium shaped not by ancient empires or inherited dominance, but by deliberate human stewardship. And Admiral Marcus Lowell, now older and keenly aware of history's weight, often reflected that the most decisive moment of humanity's rise had not been a battle, but the instant when the galaxy finally understood it could no longer predict human behavior, because unpredictability paired with preparation had proven more powerful than raw force, and across stabilized sectors, human fleets maintained a constant yet unobtrusive presence. Their ships integrated seamlessly into trade routes, defense grids, and monitoring networks governed by the ever-evolving harmonic array, which now functioned less as a weapon and more as the unseen architecture galactic order, regulating energy flows, preventing large-scale conflict, and ensuring that no single power could gain a mass unchecked. Dominance. While alien civilizations adapted to this reality by reshaping doctrines, retraining fleets, and redefining diplomacy around the understanding that humanity's response to aggression would always be faster, smarter, and more comprehensive than expected, and Ambassador Jonathan Price presided over assemblies where former rivals now negotiated under frameworks designed by human strategists. Frameworks that emphasized transparency, controlled expansion, and shared stability, not out of altruism, but out of hard-earned understanding that peace enforced by preparation endured longer than peace built on trust alone. And within human space, scientists like Aidan Cross continue refining predictive systems, ensuring that the array learned continuously from economic shifts, population movements, and technological trends, allowing humanity to foresee tensions before they erupted and neutralize them through subtle intervention rather than overt force, while officers such as Elena, Harper, and Lucas Everett trained new generations of commanders who had never known a galaxy that dismissed humans, instilling in them the core lesson that dominance was not entitlement but responsibility earned through vigilance, adaptability, and restraint. And as alien historians documented the era, a consensus emerged that humanity's secret weapon had never truly been hidden technology, but the ability to integrate science, strategy, psychology, and patience into a single coherent doctrine that evolved faster than any adversary could react. And even those species that once saw humanity's destruction now acknowledge that their downfall had begun not with defeat, but with dismissal, with the assumption that a young species could be understood through outdated metrics of power. And as the galaxy moved forward under this new order, isolated conflicts still flared at the fringes, but none escalated beyond humanity's capacity to contain them swiftly and decisively, reinforcing the reality that the balance of power had shifted permanently, and in quiet moment on Earth, as the planet thrived at the center of interstellar civilization, Lowell would remind his successors that complacency was the one enemy humanity could never afford, that the same curiosity and caution that had carried them from obscurity to dominance must never fade, because the galaxy was vast, unpredictable, and filled with challenges yet unseen, and as the harmonic array continued its silent work among the stars, the final truth became clear to every civilization that had once laughed at humanity. Alien dominance had not been shattered by a single catastrophic blow, but dismantled patiently, intelligently, and irreversibly by a species that turned underestimation into strength, preparation into supremacy, and ingenuity into the foundation of a new galactic era, an era defined not by who ruled through fear alone, but by who understood that the greatest power was the ability to shape outcomes. Before conflict ever began, ensuring that humanity's rise was not a moment in history, but a permanent transformation of the galaxy itself.